I promise you, I did not watch this movie only for the Nosferatu trailer. I did get the trailer though, it looks sick. The Bikeriders has been on my radar for quite some time now. It was supposed to release, I think, last year at some point, but got delayed. Nothing wrong with production or anything, they just decided to release it later. This film is by Jeff Nichols. I've never really watched anything by him. Honestly, I thought it was Mike Nichols at first. I saw this at the Alamo, and they did a lot of interviewing with him before the film started, and it gave me a nice, interesting perspective about the guy. He was kind of just trying to make a movie as cool as Easy Rider. Now, when your goal is that simple, all you gotta do is have interesting characters, cool bikes, and you're gonna have a good time. But I think the Bikeriders actually goes for a little more than that. It seems to be that the main barrier to enjoying this movie is if you like the framing narrative of the entire film. What I mean by that is this movie is told through a book. This entire film is somewhat from the perspective of a photographer that ends up writing a book about the Bikeriders. So this film kind of plays out as diary entries and interviews. It's not just some linear plot, we just read diary entries / interviews and then we see them. I actually think that's a fairly interesting way to do this. I think what ultimately sells me on that framing narrative is it's just a cool way to show off all your characters. It does a bit of a speed run on all the cool stuff that can happen to a bike riding gang. You know, we see a lot of fights, we see a lot of conflict in general in this film. It's just a cool way to speed through like a bunch of fights, conflict, and a bunch of the inner politics of the group. But yeah, a lot of people might not like that it's just like a bunch of random stories and it goes all over the place and it's not linear. I am not one of those people. The problem that homages typically have is it's really hard to be an homage that is better than the classic. It's hard to make a movie that's better than Easy Rider when you're mostly just imitating that type of film. It also makes homages really hard to be rewatchable. I admit I probably will never see this movie again. That is not a criticism. I just don't see the need to watch it again. I've seen it in a theater, why would I need to see this again? I promise this is a positive review. I really did enjoy this movie. It's just a really hard task for homages to be better than the classic. The cinematography was alright, it's nothing that's gonna blow your mind, but you really do buy the setting. You never question that you're in the 1960s. The production design's pretty good too, you know, I love the jackets everyone wears. I love the stitching on them. The detail is there on all the jackets. Tom Hardy plays a shockingly heartfelt character. He's a lot more dense than I was expecting, he has a little bit of a wild side to him. Ultimately, Austin Butler is our central character. He may not have the most screen time, but he is what this film is about. He's the born wild rebel that can't be tamed, but also he's really quiet and subtle. He's unpredictable. I really do love his character in this film. If this was casted by somebody that does not have the sauce like Austin Butler, I think I would hate this movie. He is the absolute glue of this film. I say that with one of the biggest benefits of the movie being the supporting cast. I love all these dudes that are in the biker gang. I just want to hang out with all of them. Michael Shannon plays this crazy guy that was rejected by the military. He's outcasted, he hates smart people, he hates college educated people. He's a true blue collar dude and you just kind of love him. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I've seen Jodie Comer in a lot of films. I know of her from TV. She kind of brought it this movie, she really did. I love her accent, and obviously everybody's accent in this movie is just bananas. Whenever this movie comes out, somebody needs to make a compilation of all of Tom Hardy's lines.
Burn it down.
One dynamic I found very interesting was Jodie Comer's character and Tom Hardy's character. Funny enough, that's the more interesting dynamic than Jodie Comer and Austin Butler. I thought it was really cool to show them both fighting for Austin Butler's love, essentially. His love and his approval. There's a theme of like possession and ownership and taming the wild beast a lot in this movie. And I like the fate that both of these characters have when trying to tame the wild beast known as Austin Butler in this movie. At the end of the day, what makes this watchable is it feels like a hangout movie. You feel like you're hanging out with your buds. The movie's about 2 hours, which isn't long by any means, but the pacing definitely dies off around the middle towards the end of this film. I think if you watch the trailer to this movie, you know what you're gonna see. And that's all right. You're gonna watch a nice homage to 1960s biker gangs, and you got great performances everywhere. If I had to rate this, I'd probably give it like a 7, but I need to be honest with everybody, and I'm probably not gonna watch this again. This is probably going to be a movie that I forget about, but that's perfectly fine. There are a lot of movies that I give great reviews that I don't really think about much afterwards. The only thing that's really stuck in my head are all the accents. But that's okay. I'll see y'all later.